So yesterday I talked about pretty much the best iPhones you can buy in the summer of 2022. Now I quickly went ahead on some of the worst iPhones you can buy in the summer of 2022. Now these are kind of no-brainers. These are pretty much iPhones I probably wouldn't recommend buying. If you currently own them, then obviously keep them. There's no problem with them. But the first iPhone, and this is a quite obvious one, is the iPhone 6s. Now, the main reason, first of all, I love this iPhone and I loved it when it first came out. I just didn't really use it too much. But throughout the years, I think this iPhone has solidified itself as one of the most important iPhones Apple has ever made. I know it's kind of a controversial opinion. It didn't really sell that well, but it brought 2 gigabytes of RAM. It brought a faster chipset, 4K capability on the camera, Touch ID 2, Force Touch. I mean, they kind of brought a lot of things that are kind of defunct now. It was also the last iPhone technically with the headphone jack, but as of right now, this iPhone is in a very, very interesting spot. It was supported with software for so many years. This iPhone lasted for a very long amount of time, and I actually like this iPhone. I still look at it and it looks great, 4.7-inch panel, and it still performs fairly decently. The problem and the reason why I would consider this one of the worst iPhones you can purchase right now is because it's probably not going to be getting the next iteration of software. It's probably stopping at iOS 15, which is not a bad thing. I think this is a good stopping point, but if you're currently looking for an iPhone and you're planning on buying one, it makes absolutely no sense to buy this type of device just because you're already going to be in a situation where it's going to be outdated. Now on iOS 15.5, perfectly fine. It's probably going to be getting iOS 15 security updates for quite a bit of time. But not only is the iPhone 6s not going to be getting iOS 16 probably, but the iPhone 6s Plus and the original iPhone SE are probably not going to be getting software updates either. So it doesn't really make too much sense to buy this iPhone. I would recommend going up to the iPhone 7 or 7 Plus at the bare minimum. And this is probably the first iPhone or set of iPhones I would not recommend buying anymore. But this also leads us to the iPhone SE third generation. Now this device is a little bit more controversial just because it is a brand new iPhone. It's the latest iPhone technically Apple made. It came out I think like 2 months ago. And this is pretty much, I would say, a drop in terms of pretty much everything. I mean, it's more expensive than the previous generation technically. They did pretty much nothing to the exterior. They brought in a newer chipset, but they could have changed up the design a little bit. They could have done some other things here and there, but they really didn't. And for this iPhone being $429, you have to look at it in terms of the other iPhones you can buy. The iPhone 11 is a better iPhone than this thing, even though it is an older iPhone with an older chipset. That is a better iPhone overall. And even an iPhone XR I would recommend buying over this thing. So because of that, this iPhone I would consider one of the worst ones just because of the price tag. If it was a $200 phone, then perfect. If it was a $250 phone, that's fine. But $429 I think is way too expensive for this type of thing, and it makes absolutely no sense to purchase this thing. It's not the worst iPhone in terms of performance or anything, but price per dollar ratio really makes no sense when you can go and do way more in the used market. You can buy like an iPhone 11 Pro for $429, so it makes absolutely no sense to purchase this device. And these two iPhones are probably the worst ones I would recommend buying or not buying. But it's also way more than two because, the 6S, 6S Plus, and the iPhone SE, those are 4 devices right there I would not recommend buying either. And that pretty much covers it up. If you have any other thoughts or questions, let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.